You've probably noticed how some people, those super smart, deep thinkers, seem to thrive on their own. They're not constantly seeking out crowds or craving non-stop company. And it's not because they're antisocial or shy. There's something deeper at play. Turns out, highly intelligent people often prefer solitude, and it's not as odd as it might sound. So, what's the deal with these brainiacs loving their alone time? Let's dig in. First off, there's actual research backing this up. A study published in the British Journal of Psychology found that people with higher IQs tend to feel less satisfied when they're around others too often. Basically, the more time they spend socializing, the less happy they are. Crazy, right? It's like their brains are wired differently. The study also suggests that smart folks, and I'm talking the Einstein level here, might not need as much social interaction to feel fulfilled. They're just more self-sufficient when it comes to their emotional needs. Makes sense when you think about it. If your mind's always buzzing with ideas, theories, and creative stuff, you're less likely to depend on external chatter to feel good. Have you ever noticed how exhausting it can be to be around people all the time? Now imagine if your brain were like a supercomputer, constantly processing thoughts, ideas, and even analyzing the meaning behind the smallest of things. For highly intelligent people, that's their reality. Social interactions can feel overstimulating, not because they don't enjoy people, but because their minds are working overtime. This overstimulation often leads to a need for quiet spaces where they can recharge. Solitude becomes a way for them to declutter their thoughts, focus on what really matters, and regain their energy. It's like hitting the reset button. Speaking of intelligent people and solitude, let's talk about some famous names. Nikola Tesla, the genius inventor, was all about spending time alone. He once said, "The mind is sharper and keener in seclusion and uninterrupted solitude." Tesla believed his most brilliant ideas came to him during these quiet moments. And then there's J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, she spent countless hours alone in cafes, writing and letting her imagination run wild. That solitude gave her the space to create a magical world millions of people fell in love with. Here's another thing. Highly intelligent people often value deep, meaningful connections over small talk. And let's be real, small talk can feel like pulling teeth sometimes. They're not interested in surface-level conversations about the weather or what's trending on TikTok. Instead, they'd rather dive into the big questions, like the meaning of life, the mysteries of the universe, or even your most ambitious dreams. This preference for depth can make large social gatherings feel a bit meh. That's why they're often drawn to one-on-one interactions or smaller groups where they can really connect. Here's the kicker. Just because they love solitude doesn't mean they're lonely. Far from it. For these folks, being alone is actually invigorating. It's a chance to reflect, learn, and create. Whether they're diving into a good book, working on a passion project, or simply daydreaming, they're completely in their element. Of course, they still value relationships, just not at the expense of their peace of mind. They'll nurture connections that matter, but won't force themselves into social situations just for the sake of it. It's about balance. So, what can we learn from this? I think the takeaway here is that solitude isn't a bad thing. In fact, it can be a superpower. It's a chance to recharge, grow, and focus on what truly matters. And if you're someone who enjoys alone time, you're in good company. Maybe it's not about being antisocial or weird after all. Maybe it's about understanding what makes your soul happy and embracing it. So next time you see someone who seems to prefer their own company, don't judge. They're probably just working on their next big idea or enjoying the peace and quiet. Either way, they're doing just fine. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear this.